Hi everyone, my name is Justin Smallwood and I am an IL psychologist. I have been asked to give a presentation on cognitive ability tests and mechanical methods for combining predictors at this year's Human Resources Annual Conference. I'm sure some of you are aware of these topics, but may find this presentation useful in taking some of the information back to your companies and organizations, and hopefully helping improve your selection process. So let's get started. First, cognitive ability tests. What are cognitive ability tests? So they are standardized measures of some form of knowledge, whether physical, mental, mechanical, clerical abilities, etc., that result from formal learning. These can be things from mathematics to geography to history to power equipment training to any kind of ability that can be measured. So what exactly is measured? What do we measure in an ability test? Well, we can measure academic achievement, the different distinct abilities, which are not interchangeable because each item on the test can be customized and different. And we can measure the overall cognitive ability score of each applicant with the scores from the test. So there's three different things that are measured. Before any of that, though, let's recap what some of you may know and what some of you may just need a refresher on, which is what's validity and validity generalization. So validity is based on inferences made from the test scores. So basically, what's the test valid for? Is the test valid? And then validity generalization is making sure that basically showing that there's evidence between the predictors and criterion for relationships across all jobs. So instead of having a test for one, or for each job in particular, you have a test that can be generalized across multiple positions, which saves time, money, and energy for the organization involved. So how do these tests translate to selection? Put it quite frankly, these tests help recruiters and companies select employees. They help predict whether employees or applicants, in this case, are going to be successful. They can predict performance. So these tests are vital and extremely helpful in determining the success of applicants and their future within the organizations. So when do you use cognitive ability tests? And more importantly, when do you not? So again, you use cognitive ability tests when you want to predict job performance, when you want to measure the success of an applicant and determine their future. Whenever you need a cost-efficient, fast, proven, widely used method, you're probably going to use a cognitive ability test. And then whenever you want to hire across jobs, whenever you don't want to implement multiple tests and you will just want to have one generalized test, going back to validity generalization, you will most likely use a cognitive ability test. And then when you do not, or probably shouldn't use a ability test, it's when you're trying to diversify, and mainly because one of probably the top negative with ability tests is adverse impact. And if you're not aware of adverse impact is when disability or differences between demographic groups exist. So these tests, unfortunately, are usually catered towards white individuals and their experiences, so they usually perform better than, say, Black or Hispanic or another minority group on the test. So you want to avoid that. So when you're trying to diversify, an adverse impact is the main negative of this test, you may want to reconsider and look at other alternatives. And then you don't want to use it when reliability and validity aren't provided. You want to make sure that those are always provided to before the test, and you want to make sure that they're high. Reliability, which we haven't mentioned, is just to make sure that you can count on the test and that it's accurate. Between 0.85 and 0.90 are the commonly used scale when determining if a test is reliable or not. And if it's high, that means that these tests can be expected to yield consistent scores across the board, and they lower the uncontrollable factors involved. Next, moving on to mechanical methods for combining factors or predictors. We have two different methods. We're going to focus on mechanical, which is not using any human judgment in the decision-making process, and then judgmental, which is the other method, which is the method that uses human judgment. So you have mechanical, no human judgment, judgmental, human judgment. So which one do you choose? Studies have shown that mechanical methods are up to 50% more accurate and successful for combining predictor scores. The only problem is many employers are hesitant to use this method because it takes the power away from them. They feel like they can make better decisions than an equation. And then you have two types of mechanical methods, which multiple regression we'll get to in a minute, and then unit weighing, which basically is a scaled down version of multiple regression, and it's better with smaller sample sizes. So a multiple regression approach for providing predictors, it is two or more selection procedures and measures. The applicant on each maximizes the relationship between the predictors and criterion. An example would be after the data is collected, we combine the results using a multiple regression. It takes all the judgment away out of our hands. Say two applicants take two different tests. Applicant A scores 80 and 85, while applicant B scores 100 and 50. The scores are put into the equation that we gathered from Gatewood and Associates. The results showed applicant A predicted performance of 250, while applicant B predicted performance of 255. Applicant B showed a higher predicted performance. Took all the judgment out of our hands, and we were able to, applicant B is the selection. No human judgment was involved because the multiple regression took care of the selection process for us. And in conclusion, we just go back over what we covered. Cognitive ability test helps organizations predict the success of applicants. And the mechanical methods, judgmental, human judgment, or mechanical, you take the human judgment out of it. So I hope you all learned a little bit more today, and you're able to implement some of this information into your organizations.